Hey, Chief, by the way, help me a little bit on this George Pickens, because you like the metrics stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know that metrics. Do you have metrics numbers for this guy?
Yeah, we know he's a down.
And I'll hit you a scouting report right after the metrics.
Perfect. I have Pro Football Focus, the stable metrics here for receiving for George Pickens, and the thing that jumps out the most is 88th percentile average depth of target. He's a guy that pushes the ball down the field. So that is a great element to this whole situation that this Cowboys offense needed. Now, overall receiving grade, 73rd percentile. Receiving grade versus single coverage, 73rd percentile. He's 39 in the percentile when it comes to versus zone and underneath stuff. Mm-hmm. His separation's not very good, very low percentile there in terms of separation, but his yards per route run and his average depth of target are both very, very impressive when it comes to where he ranks across the league. His yak, just under 50% in terms of the percentile. Yeah. So he's not the CD, like CD Lamb's a top 10 yak guy. Yeah. You know, he's not that.
This guy
down the field, he's the man.
Yeah. Okay.
He does his best work when the ball's in the air.
I think you're going to, but when you watch him, it's this is where maybe I disagree with Pro Football Focus a little bit, because I could pull these plays up for you, him run after catch, and he's like bouncing off dudes. You know, like it's like
I think he's capable. I mean, 50th percentile. Like you're pretty average
maybe a little
at
bit better at that. Man, to me, I just saw a guy, when you throw him the ball, it seemed like that he was fighting for every single yard he could get out of the play. So I was encouraged by that. All right, the George Pickens scouting report that I watched every throw to him this morning
for breakfast.
Actually, about 6:20 this morning, I did this.
Wow, you're an animal.
But then I had to share with you. By the way, we have Love of the Star podcast. It's up on your Odyssey podcast.
That's true.
It's up right now. Eric and I did when we talked about George Pickens. Give it a listen after our show today.
It's worth your time.
Yeah, it's worth your time. But we went into it pretty in depth. All right. This guy is really an emotional, fiery competitor. He will be very physical fighting off the line. He tends to push off in order to create space in route. He catches the ball, I think, very well away from his body. He could really snatch the ball. I mean, when it's in front of him or behind him, above his head, on the ground, I mean, it is like he takes it in and then he's like pulling it away from a defender. So these defenders don't have the opportunity to knock it out of his hands. He's going to make sure that he secures it and then gets it and gets what he needs to do. He'll line up in the slot on third down. They played a lot of bunch formation with this group. He went bunch formation, slot, motion, and then they throw him the ball in the flat on third down. You know, like he's able to kind of get up the field, get outside the out routes, things like that. They throw him the ball, secure a catch, get out of bounds, first down.
Outside the numbers, that's where he's gonna flourish.
He's a star when it comes to that.
And Lamb dominates everywhere, but especially over the middle of the field. Right. And then you have the complement here with George. I think it's a fantastic duo.
Okay, this is some criticism I had of the guy here. The routes tend to be a little playground, is how I described it.
Just freestyling?
Yeah. He tends to run until he finds space, and once he finds space, then the quarterback usually finds him. So you will see him. I mentioned this earlier when we've kind of been talking, whether it was a crosstalk or throughout the day. If it's supposed to be a post, and you plant your foot at 12 and then you get, depth or whatever you have to do, that's not his game. He is going to run, he's going to avoid, and it's not going to look like a pretty route. Maybe there's going to be some things where we're talking about with Dak. Dak can't throw to a guy that's kind of a freelance player. But I think he was more of this freelance because I just don't think those Steelers their passing game was all that complex. I don't feel
Arthur Smith wants to play tight ends.
I don't think there's any Now we'll see what Shoddy wants to do here. But remember how the Cowboys play with a lot of width and all that, but there's no real creativity to what the Steelers were doing. And then I didn't get the feeling like that they were taking really full advantage of him. Now, like I say, the routes It might be, hey, I'm just going to get open and throw me the damn ball.
Yeah, Dak just has to trust that this is a guy that I can just throw the ball
exactly.
to.
And you can throw the ball to this guy.
I feel like Dak has been good at those with tight ends over the middle, finding stuff.
Yeah, finding stuff. But this guy's a champ when it comes to tracking the ball.
Michael Gallup wasn't a great route runner.
No, he really wasn't.
Dak had great chemistry with him for 2 or 3 years.
And this guy will go get the ball. Like, he'll elevate to go get the ball where Gallup is more of a body catcher. And then there's chances of the defender knocking the ball away. Pickens isn't going to let you take the ball away from him. That's for sure. But this guy, he's a champ when he comes to tracking the ball. He never loses sight of it. I mean, he's running and then the ball's in the air and you could see his eyes. He's finding the ball. He's not. I mean, he knows when to put his hands up. He knows how to adjust. It's really, really easy for him to do this. The length that he has, his body, it helps him to high point passes. He's outstanding at driving defenders off and then coming back to the ball. They're scared of his vertical game. So he could drive a defender and then pivot back to the ball. And they had a couple of those routes where he was able to make really nice plays off that, just driving the defender off. I said this, he runs with some violence with the ball in hand. He did. I mentioned had a fumble against Indianapolis on the goal line attempting to score. He was trying like hell to get to the pylon, and like 3 Colts hit him at the goal line. Ball was on the ground. That's the only mistake I saw him have. He had a route where there was an interception where he got tangled up with the Cincinnati corner. And this is where I feel like that if he is going to drop a ball or he's not going to catch a ball, it's going to be because it had him getting a result of him getting tied up with the defender. He gets tangled up with the defender, or then his balance is poor. And when that happens, but he's not going to drop the ball. If it hits his hands, he's going to catch it. But when he gets tangled up or he's off balance a little bit on the route, then maybe there's a possibility that he's not going to make the catch. But that doesn't, like I say, I didn't see he just drops.
As long as he can lock in without being rattled.
Yeah, I think he's fine.
Did you see any sign that he gets mad at the quarterback and stops playing or takes plays off?
The film didn't show. I mean, the routes that he was running and all that, it looked like to me that he was still playing hard. I didn't see any quit in him or anything. I was watching like the Dallas game, and I mean, I watched every ball that went to him.
So he's just trying to fight the other team.
That's all he does.
I do think I've seen clips and elements to his game where when he knows he's not getting the ball, he's kind of loafing on a route.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll change. I don't know how big of a deal that actually is, but that is something that has been discussed, and there's clips to prove that.
Yeah, well, I didn't see any plays of the balls.
Right, you're just seeing the balls going to him.
I've seen everything,
which is what really matters.
Yeah, it's going to him, yeah. So this guy's got the ability to adjust, like I said, wherever the ball's placed. He's a red zone killer. Feet, hands work well together. Like I say, he'll bounce off defenders when he's got the ball in hands. He just gives everything he has after every.
That red zone thing is huge. They need go-to plays.
He will go. He will go and get that football. And like I said, incompletions are generally a result of him getting tangled up or his balance is poor. And I said it's rare he drops a pass. He does. He plays the game with a lot of fire. There's just not a ton of routes. The route running is not the top of his strength, but he does get open. So, I mean, he's going to find ways to bump corners, push off, use his hands. Whatever he has to do to separate, he's going to find ways to do that, and he's going to get the football.